Hi guys, let me know if you can hear me. Finally, I'm live. Just leave a few comments. Let me see how I can figure out this entire live chat. Maybe from a different hear me, and if you can hear me, you can just let me know. Don't be shy, let me know. Hello. Hi everyone. How you doing? Hi vlogging. Hi Danny, Rosie, Reese's, Karma, Quixie, Lyndon, Hell Shira. Welcome everyone. Welcome. Courtney's here too. I'm so glad to see that. Excellent. Yeah, multitasking. Rosie's multitasking. Like, I wish I could right now, but I guess it's a bit too serious for me to be focused on other things. Dre is here. Hi, Dre. Hola, mi gente. I don't know. Should we wait for a little longer? Like, since I posted the thread, I haven't checked Twitter all that much. So I don't know if there were any reactions. Hopefully not. All right. How is everyone? What's this? Oh, Drew is in the room. Hi, Drew. Buenas noches, mi amiga. Buena onda. Hi, Quimby. Hi, nice to see you here. Hi, everyone. So, what are we going to be talking about today? Dun, dun, dun. Should we wait some more? I don't know. Should we? Hey, Nessa, what's up? What's up, girl? Great. Have your dinner. I just had my lunch. I'm already a day ahead of y'all. So, what's up? 5 minutes. Excellent. So, everyone is here tonight. Tonight for you because it's not a night for me. I didn't read the thread. Is it safe going in blind? I don't know, Dre. Maybe we can read the thread together or something. Because I did drop a few receipts. The girl's screenshot I sent today was so good. That's what Dre says. Which screenshot were you sent, Dre? One second. Let me see how I can put my thread onto the screen. Do tell. All right, so probably most of you have guessed by my title that today I'm going to be talking about reality. Bigger drama channels being full-blown hypocrite. Oh, wow. Shocker. All right, so let me see if I can somehow bring that thread up in the screen. You're going to have to excuse me because I'm not all that good with technology, though. So, going to take me a second. Let me close other tabs. Let me close that too. I hope everyone had a wonderful day today. Sure, a couple of girls will be mad, but oh well, whoa, well. People always find reasons to be mad, so what can you do? What can you do? Right. I'm gonna need that screenshot. I love myself a good screenshot. Let's see. Kidding aside now, I think this is what I have to push to share my screen. Share. Okay, so let me see. Let me see. Can you see the first tweet of that thread I posted today? Just let me know in the comments. All right. Okay, see, it's rather small. So let me choose a different setting on StreamYard. Okay, see, it's rather small. So let me choose a different setting on StreamYard. Okay, so I need to click the big square. Thank you. Thank you, Karma. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Excellent. All right, so today I posted a thread about reality because apparently they love to discuss me. They have strong feelings. Oh, thank you, Karma. I'll get used to it. You're 100, Andrew? So let's see. Today our topic is per usual, anti-Semitism in the drama community, per usual. So I wanted to talk about reality. Reality should change their name to unrealistic. For sure. I agree with that. And I'll tell you why I agree with that. Because reality is one of the people that careful that may get you suspended. Yes, we had another Elinara thread today. That's for sure. So Reese's, what are you saying is going to get who suspended? The thread, you think? I mean, I'm only speaking facts. I'm just responding to what people have to say about me. Otherwise, I wouldn't even bother, addressing them. I still remember how they triggered Danny, didn't give two shits even after I talked to them. Very performative. Oh, okay. Saying reality doesn't live in reality. Well, I'd say they don't. Because honestly, they do have the most things to say about anyone. And hey, nurse, nice to see you here tonight. So they have the most to say about everyone, but the minute you try to tell them that you're being kind of sort of hypocritical, or you try to give them advice, they think they know better than anybody else. So let's dive into it tonight, shall we? So a while ago, RealiTea posted a thread about me. They had a whole lot of things to say about me. They called me evil. They called me performative. They called me a lot of things. So they also shared a few things that had happened, or they think that's how they went down in the past. Of course, many of the things that they talked about were completely misconstrued. Others were straight out lies, like the fact that I figured out their real identity. That definitely was not me, but that's the least of my concerns today. I mean, today, what we're going to talk about is something that a small group of people have been debating me on for a good while. And just in case you haven't noticed, I'm quite passionate about anti-Semitism, and especially since I got myself so involved in Here for the Tea's doxing and whatnot. So obviously it was a conscious choice to get more involved in that. So I do take to heart any comments that suggest that my concern and my interest is not legit. Okay. So first of all, I want to remind you that some of my best friends are Jewish. Okay. Keep that in mind, for one. Secondly, that especially when I talked about that doxing account, that anti-Semitic doxing account, Hartouche, that a lot of my friends that were not necessarily Jewish were doxed. So yes, I do take it very personally, as exactly as my friends take it personally when the average Joe wants to put in their 2 cents and they want to, constantly attack not just the single person that stood up for them. The Hartouche thread will never die. No, Dre. So long as this community is around, the Hartouche thread will never, ever die, It's going to be a talking point. It's going to be a talking point, and it's going to create a whole lot of conspiracies because it's right in the spirit of anti-Semitism to, try and manipulate events and try and create different conspiracies to sort of not allow Jewish people, first of all, to be the victims of any situation, because there was this whole round that, first of all, Here for the Tea wasn't doxxed because her information was somewhere out there on the internet, which is utter bullshit. But that whole thing is in the very spirit of anti-Semitism, like creating new conspiracies every single day. Like Ellie is the new conspiracy around, or not so new. The conspiracy that some people have been trying to push is that I'm an anti-Semite. I'm this person that simultaneously doxed Here for the Tea and helped her friends and was keeping tabs with her enemies, but somehow I was also pushing the agenda of her enemies through the doxing account. Is like that whole nonsense that doesn't make sense. But in an anti-Semite's mind, anything and everything makes sense. So I can't really say I'm surprised. Like we're living in a comfortable enough to call Jewish people Nazis. So I'm not surprised in the least. So let's dive into that thread that I posted today. I personally don't care what people like to tweet about, but I'm tired of these extreme activists Yes, disguising their use of real issues to come at the ones they don't like. It's so sneaky and wrong. And thank you, Nessa. I think this summarizes really well, like really well, what's been happening. Like, we know that absolutely nobody was talking about anti-Semitism was because they talked about it, and the reason they're talking about it is because they don't like me, not because they care about anti-Semitism. And you're gonna have to be blind to not be able to see that. First and foremost, calling an alien anti-Semite is the most ridiculous deflection I've ever read. Well, yes, and in the future, people will find out more reasons as to why it is ridiculous to call me that. But for now, I'm not going to divulge more. Like, I mean, it's up to you, people. You can keep attacking me. You can keep calling me names. Soon enough in the future, you will look as ridiculous as it can possibly get. That's all I can promise you. Rosie says they block me when I have questions, but they're Jewish allies, right? And I mean, I've seen quite a few comments where, you know, when it comes to Rosie, just because she's my friend, of course, she's quote unquote a bad Jew. Okay, so anyone a bad Jew. And this is where the problem starts. Like, when you have such a level of bias where you think that I am able to affect Jewish people to the point where, you know, they do not understand their own lived experiences, then I'm allowed to call you not just as delusional as it gets, but as performative as it gets. Because people do see what's happening. Okay. Like, they do see that you never had anything to say about anti-Semitism before my thread. And suddenly, when it became a hot topic and Ellie was talking about it, everyone wanted to disprove Ellie, but somehow not disprove Ellie. Somehow they wanted to talk about anti-Semitism, give validity to the things that I was saying, but somehow they didn't want to give me any credit. They just wanted to demonize me. And that's the most twisted part of it all. So let's have a look at that thread that I posted today. So today I was talking about reality. Reality have quite a choice words for me from very early on. Like, for those of you who it's creepy at this point, well, and because my private account is locked on Twitter, let me just make it public knowledge. For every single subtweet that I get from the anti-Semitic crew of the beauty community, I will drop a thread from my main account. If you want to subtweet me, if you want to make implications that I'm somehow problematic and whatnot, if you want to go back to Hartouche, I'm going to bring it back. And I'm going to drop a new thread every single time you do so. And I'm going to prove not only how performative you are, but also how anti-Semitic you are yourselves, like as a collective, your little group. So keep subtweeting. I will keep dropping threads. I have enough receipts to last me for years. It's up to you. Okay? So, okay. Let's have a look at the actual thread. Why does reality have an opinion when they aren't Jewish? Oh, hey, Leah, nice to see you here. Well, the question is, why does reality have a problem when they were chosen by Here for the Tea, the Jewish woman that was doxxed? Why do they think they have a say on anything? Right after I finished writing my thread about Here for the Tea's doxing, what did RealiTea do? They wrote a reaction thread on my thread. So pretty much secured my attention for the rest of their presence on all platforms. When I try to speak out about anti-Semitism, and your reaction is to, and let me remind you, I didn't do this off the top of my head. That was the agreement between the people docs, especially Here for the Tea, the Jewish woman that was mainly targeted, and me. That was the agreement. I was supposed to speak up for all of them collectively. Whether you like it or not, whether you like me or not, I don't give two shits. It wasn't up to you. It was up to them, okay? So first of all, they had a problem with that. But unfortunately, really asked for their 2 cents, because I don't know, I guess, well, like Reese said, maybe because not only they're not Jewish, but also because they didn't know even the basics of what was happening, of what was going on. So yeah, that's why their 2 cents were not needed. So, the minute you try to debunk and to take away validity from somebody writing about anti-Semitism, of course I'm going to look at you sideways. Of course, I'm going to think that you're an anti-Semite. And if you're not an anti-Semite, you're going to have to be some kind of an apologist, You want to explain away things. Especially if you're trying to vilify me, again, the one who was in constant communication with people that were mostly affected. So, that's not a good look. And what I'm not understanding is why none of their friends told them so far. Yes, so Reese is right. Here's the issue. How are they an expert on a subject they Google for 15 minutes, also not fact-checking the sources? Well, actually, I remember from that first thread they wrote in reaction to my original thread, they actually had to Google whether the word shrew was anti-Semitic or not. And I'm like, listen. Listen. If we're talking about elementary level, like facts, maybe you shouldn't be taken away from what I wrote. If you had to Google that very fact, maybe you shouldn't be trying to, debate something you have little to no knowledge about, and you have little to no connection to the people that were actually affected. Like, am I asking for too much? Like, am I crazy here? Yeah, the most almighty social justice warrior. So, all right, I'm gonna read the thread with you guys. All right. So today's thread is inspired by the latest events of anti-Semitism discussion in the beauty community being reopened. And of course, I'm reminding everyone that it was reopened by Petty Page, which I've repeatedly said that I'm not interested in Page. Like, she's trying to insert herself in that situation, obviously because she doesn't like Here for the Tea, but nobody really cares about her. Like, she was a factor in the way that she did give a platform to the doxer, but other than that, nobody cares about Paige in this whole deal. There were other people that were, playing bigger and longer games than her. So that's where we're focusing. So we will remember an incident between woke ally extraordinaire RealiTea 16 and none other than the anti-Semitic doxing account Hartouche. Okay, so they wrote a thread about me. I believe it was in November or something. I was planning to respond to their thread in a series of videos, but then, life happens, especially when you have kids, twins, like huge life outside of Twitter and YouTube is like, you have to set your priorities straight. So I didn't create the videos that I wanted, but of course, when I say that I'm going to do something, it might take longer than I expect it to, but eventually I will address it. Eventually everything will be addressed. Like, I'm not the kind of person that will just, skip things. So I'm writing today in my thread that per their admission in yet another one of their threads about me, because like I already mentioned, RealiTea had written another thread about me and the anti-Semitic doxing of Here for the Tea and other things. She's Here for the Tea, she's been like, sometimes, how can I say it? Like, she attracts the kind of attention where people want clout out of Here for the Tea, but they do not necessarily have her best interest at heart, if it makes sense. So one of these cases, I believe, is RealiTea, and we'll see why. So like I have already said, I will address all of their comments about me in the future, but today we'll briefly remember exactly when that incident occurred. So RealiTea has said in their latest thread about me that they have even gotten into a fight directly with Hartouche for their transphobic comments, which, taken out of context, it sounds like great social justice warrior stuff, right? So I did have a few screenshots saved. Remember that all my screenshots are in Australian time, so maybe I'm a day ahead and it does not correspond to the dates that people in the States see. So let's see what RealiTea had to say. What was the date for me? The date for me was December 16th, 9:06 in the morning. So RealiTea, they post a thread about Nick Snyder. And of course, the natural reaction for Nick Snyder is to send his followers to attack RealiTea. Like, we know how this goes. And of course, most of you in the chat already know, but I don't know, maybe someone who will watch it in the future doesn't know that Nick Snyder has a hate boner for Here for the Tea, the person that was doxxed by the anti-Semitic account, Here for the Tea. That is the Jewish person that was targeted by the anti-Semites. So RealiTea, they write a thread about Nick Snyder, and Nick Snyder's fans pretty much attack them. An hour later, just an hour later, when Nick Snyder's stans start attacking and, scrolling through RealiTea's tweets, what does RealiTea do? RealiTea, an hour after their thread about Nick Snyder, they get into a fight with Hartouche. Okay, that had already been around for, if we're talking December, quite a few months, and it has been the topic of discussion in, different DMs. So for some reason, RealiTea believe that it is good decision to start a fight with an account that is pretty much targeting Here for the Tea, the minute they attract the attention of a bunch of people that dislike Here for the Tea already because, they stand Nick Snyder, and Nick Snyder has a hate boner for Here for the Tea, whether they like it or not. Okay. And even Nick Snyder wasn't on board of that whole doxing situation that I've said before. That's what happened. So let's take a look. So they start arguing about the mug that was, the profile picture that was allegedly insulted by Paige. So, of course, here you can see that Hartouche is someone who pretty much likes Paige. It is someone who defends Paige. Okay. So that's my first observation. My second observation is that have a look at who is tagged in that mug picture. Mr. Preda. Mr. Preda is one of Here for the Tea's friends, good friends, and keep that as a reference because we're going to need it for the future, for future threads. But make no mistake, Mr. Preda was tagged for a reason, okay? And then Reality, and I haven't even posted all of the screenshots, like just a little sample of the fight they had with the anti-Semitic account. And they do take offense because of a comment that this account Thing is, though, that this entire account was known already, and I will explain why it was known already, that it was targeting Here for the Tea, and it was doxing Here for the Tea. But we will see in one of my future threads how Reality knew that. They were already aware of that. Okay. But anyways, they do not call the account out for anti-Semitism. They do not call the account out for doxing. They call out the account for transphobia. Okay. But then they are the ones that call me performative. Like, they have a whole fight bringing attention to an anti-Semitic account, making the information that account was posting available to possible Here for the Tea's haters, but I'm the performative one. And of course, to prove my case, because people, they will always say, how do we know? What was your motive? Yada, yada. What Reality haven't mentioned is that this is the point where I blocked them. And this is a DM, a private message from me to someone else. And it was like about half an hour after they started fighting with the doxer. So I'm saying that I have a problem because Reality posted a thread about fans to their account, to Reality's account, I meant. And then Reality with Hartouche while his tans will be scrolling through Reality's recent tweets. So what I'm trying to say and what my problem was is that was so reckless. And the reason I'm going to say reckless is because I cannot prove it was deliberate. So I'm just going to chalk it up to stupidity. Like, how the hell are you going to get into a whole ass fight with a doxing account when you know you're already fighting a bunch of people who are angry? You called one of their favorite YouTubers a transphobe. How the hell are you going to do that? Tell me, how does it make sense? Because it didn't to me. And this is the point where I'm like, you know what? This person, whether they realize it or not, they're actually aiding, they're helping an anti-Semite. And I'm not on board with that. Boom. So I block them. And of course I was angry. And of course I expressed that to my friends. Of course I expressed that in DMs. And I'm not going to hide it. Yes. I was mad that they did that. Who in their right mind does that? But my problem is that in their latest thread, RealiTea tried to blur that entire timeline of how things happened, because RealiTea's assertion was that they didn't know why I blocked them. Maybe they didn't realize, I don't know. But somehow they started speaking up because they realized how evil I was. And I'm reminding you that all of this is taking place before I even wrote my thread on anti-Semitism. I had RealiTea blocked before my thread. Like 10 days before my thread, a week. I don't remember how long it was. But I had a problem with that. I saw someone bringing attention to an anti-Semite, I block them. Be rest assured that this will be my reaction. Okay? So let's not twist it that it was some epiphany that they had where they realized how performative and manipulative I was and why I was talking about Here for the Tea. I wasn't even talking about Here for the Tea yet. I hadn't said a word yet. So that part of their little, story is absolutely false. It's absolutely that little by little, as we start, piecing everything together in the right order, not in the fucked up order that some people prefer, that we will be able to see who is the actual performative activist. A few days after the thread that I wrote about Here for the Tea was over, what does RealiTea do? They write a thread trying to take away from my own. So they write a thread trying to take away from the one that I wrote to defend Here for the Tea. Of course, they keep talking about me, and we're gonna revisit everything, how they tried to derail my thread as it was happening multiple times, how they were demanding apologies for on behalf of Georgia, the person who actually tried to accuse Joe of being Hartouche with fabricated receipts, and then RealiTea was surprised I didn't like Georgia because I knew that Georgia was full of it. Okay, and you can catch up pretty much. People like Georgia, people like RealiTea, they I don't know, they have no limit. They will lie, they will fabricate receipts. Why? You're gonna ask me why? Well, because they want clout. Like, I believe that when Georgia made up that receipt about Joe, she just wanted, insider information. She wanted to know the tea before anyone else. I don't know what her intention was, what she wanted to do with it, but I know that she totally made this up. So just know how low that side, and yes, there are sides, and there's a reason that there are sides. There are sides because you can't just be tolerant about certain things, and I'm sorry, you can't be sitting on the fence about certain things. And anti-Semitism is one of these things. Like, For example, don't ask me to, look past certain things just because it doesn't matter to you. Okay, so let's see. So what reality does after my thread is what I posted here. They pretty much tag the doxing accounts, Hartouche, here for the BS, here for the bullshit too. And to make a case of, yes, you know what, here for the tea was actually doxed. And I'm like, what? Like, was that even up for debate? And if it was up for debate, the thing you do is actually call out the people that try to rewrite the definition of doxing. You do not actually tag the doxers. Like, am I missing something here? Oh, Crappy Parrot is here. Yes, Crappy Parrot, thank you. Yeah, I'm just a little bit racist. Like, yeah, just a touch. And here's the hard thing about anti-Semitism. Like, nobody can be excluded. It's not like a trans person can be an anti-Semite, or a gay person can be an anti-Semite, or a black person, or an Asian person, or even a Jewish person. Anyone can be an anti-Semite. Because anti-Semitism is such a unique form of hate, and that's why I started, creating that series. And I'm pretty upset that people keep, accusing me of shit at this point. They keep accusing me of shit, and I see the level of their ignorance, and I see how little they know about global politics, and they want to have a say. And, I just want to put a stop to it. So I need to educate them, even though I do not respect them at all. So let me bring something up. And let me see how many in the group, in the chat, they know about this fact. So the other day, I was pretty upset because RealiTea, they were pretty much some protests in Greece that were pretty much in support of an extremist left-wing group in Greece. I caught a tweet and delete by someone who pretty much hates me, and they said, oh, that, Trump, same argument, like, but I'm not talking about the States. Like, that's why people should be very cautious when they're talking about other cultures. What people, first of all, don't know is that in Greece, there is still standing this extreme left-wing terrorist group of the West world. They're pretty active. They don't mean good. They don't mean well. They condone violence. They condone racism. They condone killing people, innocent people. And of course, you have to understand something else. And let me see who knows it. Who knows it in the chat? Because I tweeted something about left-wing fascism. How many of you know that Mussolini, was a left-wing radical? How many of you know that? Because it's European history. Like, to us, it's common sense that any kind of extremism is bad, whether it's right-wing or left-wing. So pretty much for us, everything has to be a healthy medium. But left radicals exist, and they're no less anti-Semites than the right-wing radicals. But I've been put on blast because of this fact. Because what's the easiest thing? Yeah, left does not mean good. Mussolini was a radical leftist. Of course, like anti-Semitism is everywhere. How many people know about the problematic views of Corbyn and left wing in Britain right now? So nobody, and I mean it with my whole chest, nobody is excluded from this form of hate. There's no excuse you can use and say, you know what, I'm a left, so I cannot be an anti-Semite, or I'm gay and I cannot be an anti-Semite, or I'm black and I cannot be an anti-Semite, or I'm Jewish and I cannot be an anti-Semite. Anyone can be an anti-Semite. Anyone. Point blank, period. Of course, and Quixie, you're right. How some anti-Semites hide behind paganism, and I was also put on blast for that because many people don't understand that the dogma where Hitler based his whole, campaign of race purity was based on Nordicism. Nordicism is when you feel that, the superior race characteristics are blonde hair and blue eyes. So have you ever considered why they try to eradicate the entire Greek population or populations that were, darker looking in European standards? Because they were not pure enough. How many of you, and it's been a debate recently, like a couple of days ago because of Cardi B, it's been a debate on Twitter. How many people know that actually Hitler was inspired by the Ottomans, by the Turks, that actually committed a genocide against the Armenians, against the Assyrians, and against the Greeks? Hitler congratulated them. He was inspired by them. This is European history that to a European it makes a lot of sense, but it gets so much harder when you try to put it in perspective for people who are not from Europe. And I do have a problem that every time that I open my mouth, I have to be so careful that I have to put everything in Americentric style, so to speak. Not the entire world revolves around the States. Not the entire world thinks like the States, operates like the States. So you can't take my words and compare them to your American reality when I'm trying to educate you about European politics, because they're day and night. And of course, I do feel the obligation of, educating people, especially when they misconstrue what I say and they don't understand it because their reality is completely different. But I beg of people, before you jump into conclusions, just always remember what the background of the person you're talking to is. So if I'm talking to you as a European, you have to realize that I'm thinking as a European. I'm not thinking as an American. And I'm, yes, I'm Aussie, right? I just moved here 5 years ago. I am Australian. So, yes, I do have several issues with these people constantly trying to dilute these conversations wherein they have no idea about what's going on outside their own country. Like, not everyone lives like an American. Not everyone thinks like an American, or like from the American continent. Let me put it this way. Like, it's different in other sides of the world, and we have a different history and we have a different understanding. And if you're under the impression that there is not huge animosity between, because sometimes I get the feeling that people think that like Europeans are a monolith and they think the same and they act as one. Like, there's so much animosity between Europeans. And for many different reasons, historical reasons, religious reasons, tribal reasons. Like, I've even heard that I was trying to appropriate the word tribe. Like, there's tribal populations in every single continent of the world. Like, my personal tribe has always been fighting, well, because I'm a Macedonian, I'm Greek Macedonian. So Macedonians were never in good terms with the Athenians, for example, and this is true to this day. Like, there's huge division even within Greece. So you can't take your way of thinking from your own country and apply it to people who are not from your country. And I don't even know why I have to explain this, but here we are. I have to. Yes, Krabby Parrot, that's the thing that many people don't understand, that not only do anti-Semites exist in other places in America, but Jewish people had more problems coming from Europe than America since recently. Like, if there's a problem with anti-Semitism, that's mainly coming from Europe. You know what I'm saying? And they're much less, the simple, because sometimes people think very plainly when it comes to anti-Semitism. They think, okay, so for someone to be anti-Semite, he needs to be a Nazi, or he needs to be right-wing. It's got nothing to do with that. You can be a centrist and be an anti-Semite. You can be a leftist and you can be an anti-Semite. You can be an atheist and Muslim. You can be, you name it. Because there's different forms of anti-Semitism. So the first clue that you can pick up that somebody doesn't know enough about anti-Semitism is that they are under the assumption that anything that is right-wing is anti-Semitic. No, anti-Semitism is everywhere. It doesn't mean immediately that right-wing is like, oh, that's the only anti-Semitic, side of politics. No, anti-Semites are everywhere, whether you like it or not. Okay, so I was pretty pissed. Let's go back to my thread. That right after I explained as briefly as I could with all the attacks that I had to deal with, including RealiTea's attacks during my thread on anti-Semitism, I was shocked to see that not only they were like trying to make a case of, based on United States law, here for the tea was dogs. Like, is that what we actually care about? Like, whether it was legal or not? And do you actually care to debate that with the doxers? Like, why would you even tag the doxers to debate something like that with them? So yeah, I was annoyed by that, and that was obviously proof that RealiTea were clout chasing. Obviously. So in short, what happened is that there was a group of people, mostly from the side that were, and that's what I want to know. I mean, there's a lot of people that were rejoicing in Here for the Tea's doxing. Okay. And one of them was Ali. Ali was one of the accounts that was actually interacting with Hartouche, and she was visibly happy about what was going on. So naturally, I warned, or I tried to warn RealiTea multiple times about that, and they didn't care. So what am I to make? That they actually care about Here for the Tea or anti-Semitism? No. They care to get as much clout as they can from both sides. when you need to be in good terms, both with the person that was doxxed and with the person that was happy about someone's doxing, then, I do not call that a healthy medium. I call that fucked up. And I'm sorry. Exactly, Kirby Pirate. And I remember you. And I remember you saying that. You said Ali was anti-Semitic in 2019. Nobody believed you. Yes. Wasn't it the time when Ali said that Irv sounded like a white supremacist? For context, Irv is a black woman. And Ali's go-to insult was to say that Irv sounds like a white supremacist. And I mean, no, but people want to say, Ellie is so bad because she wanted me to do or not do what, do whatever the fuck you want, but do not expect me to support you. If you support somebody like Allie, do not expect me to support you. Of course she said that. So, yeah, I mean, pretty much what happened, reality, she found a niche market. I'm sorry, misgendered. I really didn't mean to. They found a niche market of, people who were up in arms about my thread. And let me remind you who was up in arms about my thread. The people that were happy as the doxing was taking place. These were the people that were against me the entire time, trying to derail my thread on anti-Semitism. Okay. So, pretty much, reality, they joined that group because they found that there was a hate bandwagon coming against me, and they found a way to garner some attention from the doxing of a Jewish person masquerading themselves as an ally. But you know what? How many of you remember that thread that was posted recently where someone anonymous tried to blame Reese's of being behind several sock accounts harassing Karma, Jamie, and other people? And in that thread, they used my style, the exact style that I used to talk about here for the tease doxing. How many of you remember that thread? Do you remember that thread? Do you remember that thread? There was a thread recently, and somebody anonymous was alleging that, Reese's was the one behind all of the trolling accounts in the community, and somehow that I knew it because they used a couple of clips. Yes, the Star Wars one. Yes, exactly, Karma. So you know what happens, Karma, when that thread gets posted? You know what reality did? Reality, they went straight to here for the tease DMs. Okay. To say that they believe that Hartush is back. But now they are befriending people that allege that I am Hartush. So make it make sense. On the one hand, you go to the Jewish woman that was doxxed. You tell her, I believe this is the anti-Semitic doxer. But somehow your friends also assert that I'm the anti-Semitic doxer, and I'm writing a new thread copying my own style, trying to frame myself. Like, do you follow the craziness? Do you follow what they actually tried to do? And then they have the nerve to write an entire thread of lies and accuse me of being performative. Performative. The same person that actually tried to gaslight the Jewish woman that was doxxed, scare her to silence, because if you don't remember, this is the point where Here for the Tea said, you know what? I want to reopen my thread. A whole lot of people send direct messages to Here for the Tea to stop that from happening. You know that? One of these people was Reality. Okay. So these are the facts. How are you going to try to manipulate and have the balls to claim afterwards that you're not an anti-Semite, but you're an ally? You can't do that. Okay. So then I give the cliff notes in my thread. I say, so here's what happened pretty much, guys. Reality, they said Nick Snyder is a transphobe. They posted a thread. An hour after that thread, they fight with an anti-Semitic doxer. Then I blocked them because of it. Then a week later, they derail my thread on anti-Semitism like the good ally that they are, or they claim to be. Yes? After they befriend people that are accusing me of being the doxer. And then, to top it off, Reality message Here for the Tea to tell her to be careful because they think that the doxer is back or something. Like, what? Oh, absolutely, Krabby Pirate. Yes, absolutely. So, let me tell you something. The past few days, my Jewish friend Rosie has been called Gestapo, has been called a Poe, has been called crazy, has been subtweeted by other people that I will not mention today. And what does Reality ally extraordinaire do? Nothing. Why? Because these are their mutuals. But yet, they are seeking to hold a standard for others that they cannot even keep for themselves. And this is why I believe that let me switch back. 1 second. I mean, guys, do you even get what actually happened, what they tried to pull? Yes, Kirby Pirate. Oh, I believe you that you were ostracized from the community. Like, for some reason, especially, the people who talk about anti-Semitism in the community are the most hated. And I remember you back then. Since 2019, calling it out. The people who point out anti-Semitism are attacked the most. They're the ones that get ostracized. You know why? Because there's a certain small group of people who want to be the ones to define What is anti-Semitic? Okay. And who are Jewish allies? Meanwhile, they aren't Jewish and they attack Jewish people to top it off. So make that make sense. Oh yeah, what does Karma say? Ever since I got into it with Trigger, someone's been trying to hack my Twitter. I get a notice at least every other day to reset my password. Like, and that's the other thing. There's like sides to different allegations, and people will immediately think that they have a right to attack you and accuse you of things because you're not friends or you're enemies. They immediately think of their biggest enemy as being the culprit. But they will go out of their way to protect someone that they believe is their friend. They will excuse everything, but they're very quick to point fingers and to, accuse people that they don't like. And I'm over it. I'm over the double standards. Like, if you want to maintain a double standard, you're going to have to allow me to do the same. You're going to have to allow me to do the same. Like, have a different standard for myself and a different standard for you. You can't request things from me that you, yourself, cannot live up to. Yes, I know. You were contacted, Crappy Parrot, by Antisemitism account. That was the coolest account ever. But I do understand the grief. I do understand why they had to quit. Because, honest to God, the minute you open your mouth to support a Jewish person or to support Israel or to support like a Jewish cause, people are onto you. They attack you from everywhere. Every single race, every single religion, every single culture, every single community is like, it's one of the biggest sins on social media. How dare you be a Jewish ally? Like, we're gonna crucify you for it. But racist dog, there's a different one. There's an anti-Semitism dog account, but they're not that active. Exactly. Rosie makes such a good point. Let me highlight that comment. So yeah, here's the other thing that I wanted us to remember briefly. Yes. I got confused for a second, Carpet Parrot. You're right. They're different. So obviously there are two sides in the community. There's a very good reason there are two sides, and I will always not be okay with anyone like sitting in the middle. I'll never be okay with that. Because there are things in life where you can't say it's just beef, it's just disagreement. You can't disagree on things such as neo-Nazis. There is no disagreement. You can't be neutral about things like that. Or you can't be neutral. You can't be neutral about things like, let's say, ableism. Okay, because this is the discussion that I had yesterday in my private account. Like, so I see that RealiTea, they post a thread about ableism when A few months ago, Jamie, for those of you who don't know Jamie's bipolar. He had an extreme episode. He had to be hospitalized a couple of times. What did RealiTea do back then? They go into one of Jamie's friends' DMs and they try to pry into information about his mental health, right? Fame, concern, and stuff. Next thing you know, they use Jamie as a battering ram to attack people like Mel, like Reese's. Because how dare you talk to Jamie? Okay. Because he's the worst of the worst in the community. Then why the fuck are you approaching his closest friends, seeking to find information about his mental health just to use this man as an attack device for your own demented agenda? Make that make sense. How can you care about ableism when you do things like that? How can you care about ableism when you're friends and you condone an account that repeatedly mocks my depression and mocks the fact that I take care of my depression and I'm on antidepressants? How do you have the nerve to call anyone else performative but yourself? How do you have the nerve? How do you have the nerve to say that you are an ally to everyone and anyone when you protect and you befriend the biggest misogynists in the community that use the worst stereotypes, the worst language possible, and constantly attack women? How can you claim to be an ally and so against anti-Semitism when you condone misogyny? When at the very core of anti-Semitism is male supremacy, not just white supremacy, male supremacy. How can you claim that anyone else is performative but you when you not only refuse to call out these people surrounding you and pushing your tweets? You don't just not call them out, you condone them. So miss me. Nobody asked for your help. Nobody asked for your help. Nobody asked from you to defend or talk on behalf of Here for the Tea or her friends or the people that were doxxed. Yet here you are, time and again, trying to attack the single person that was willing to take the abuse of the other side, that try to persuade anyone in this community that the sky is not blue. They try to dictate to every single community what is and isn't offensive. And I'm not even going to go into the anti-Greek sentiment from their tweets lately, because if there's something that I hate way more than an anti-Semite, is an anti-Semite that also doesn't like Greeks. Like, that's very unique. And I mean, anti-Greek animosity is almost as old as anti-Semitism. Maybe I should do a documentary on that too. I don't know. I mean, it's going to be very interesting. But, I can tell when someone is prejudiced against Greeks as a Greek. And 99% of the time, it's Europeans. For some reason, now, not for some reason, it's because there's a select few that don't like me, and it just happens that I'm Greek. So they think it's valid to, attack Greeks as a whole. It's like, that's the epitome of anti-Greek sentiment. How are you going to talk on our politics, on our history, on our processes, on, how are you going to compare our reality to the American reality when it's day and night? It's not comparable. We do not have the same political systems. 99% of the Greek population is white, so there's no comparison there. There's different history. Greeks are indigenous to their own land. We have our differences, our tribes, there's no comparison, like apples and oranges. So when you jump into these kind of comparisons, I can just tell that you're just trying to devalue Greeks as a people, and I do not appreciate that. I do not appreciate that at all. So I'm going to call you out each and every single time. So for your information, yes, there are still radical leftists, just like Benito Mussolini, and they're active in Greece. And you promoted them. You refused to take that back. You refused to turn it around. And I mean, you tried to turn it around, say that I was trying to pass misinformation on my country. So now it's again up to me to educate. But you know what? If you're that, non-problematic person, maybe you shouldn't be obligating people from other cultures to constantly be in a position where they have to educate you in order not to be accused by you. Like right now, I would have loved to be focusing on my anti-Semitism documentary, but the minute I dropped my first episode, there comes the common stereotypes, comparisons, like trying to find what's wrong with what I said, the subtweets, the accusations. And it's like, you know what? I'll call you out before I continue. And I'm calling you out today. I'm calling you out tonight. You're bigoted. It's obvious you do not give a shit about Jewish people, and it's obvious you do not like Greeks at this point. And I have a problem with that. And I will never be okay with that. And there is nothing you can do to fix that. Because in your demented minds, instead of fixing your wrongs, you try to find new twists to make your story make sense. So, what's that? Reality did go begging to DMs about karma, pretending to care about that person. Huh? Yeah, so I mean, let me make it clear. I've already said it from my private account for every single subtweet from the anti-Semitic crew, because at this point, the way you move cannot be named differently. So for every single subtweet I get from the anti-Semitic crew, I'm going to be dropping a new thread. And I will educate you on the things that you were wrong, not because I care about you, not because I care about educating you, but because I care about fixing the wrongs of the misinformation that you guys spread. No, I'm not going to give you the right to go on your platforms and say, you know what, Ellie is spreading misinformation about Greece. No, I will never allow you to do that. That's you. And your ego is too big to accept that. Your ego is too big to accept that you pretty much condoned a racist, probably an anti-Semite too, because radical leftists do not like Jews. Let's not sugarcoat it. You condoned that. I tried to correct you. And yet you still tried to turn it around against me. As if I have anything to gain from spreading misinformation about my own country of origin. How self-absorbed can you be? He weaponized. Oh, John Parrott. Well. I mean, the nerve of someone like RealiTea to say, you don't check your friends because they say horrible things, when reality are mutuals with someone like Jerome Parody. You know what? And I get the man, he feels hurt, he feels betrayed, he's being fed a shitload of shit. That still doesn't give you like a card to run a rampage, and be bigoted or anti-Semitic or misogynistic. Like, no, that has to come from within. Because that's the same logic that Jeffree Star used when people were saying, you know what, you're racist. And he was like, no, I was just reacting to the 2 white women that hurt me. That's why I called them the N-word. So, no, that doesn't give you a pass to be a horrible person. Like, you can defend yourself, but you can be decent about it. So, yeah, my problem is not with him right now. My problem is, at this point, with RealiTea, because they're two-faced, because not only they spread quite a few lies about me, not only because they always get in the middle of the conversation about anti-Semitism in our community. And you know what? There's a question that I receive a lot, like, what do you want out of this? And you know what? I'm never going to stop fighting people who either excuse anti-Semites or are anti-Semites. I will never shut up. So do not hold your breath. So when will I shut up about RealiTea? Never. Why? Because not only they excused anti-Semitism, they aided anti-Semitism, they interrupted discussions about anti-Semitism, they accused me of being anti-Semite. Do you think that I will ever stop? Never. Never. Nobody else wants to talk about it? Well, good, I'll talk about it. There's a group of people in the beauty drama community that are pretty fine with anti-Semitism, and I'm not cool with them. And I will keep calling them out. Don't like it, just block me and keep scrolling. But I will not shut up, I'm sorry. So yeah, I mean, let me not hear them again say anything about performative, especially when the minute that this ridiculous thread lately, the copycat of mine, dropped, they were out for their drop of clout, immediately in Here for the Cheese DMs, like, miss me, Miss me with your fake allyship. Miss me. Like, can we remember for a second what was the main problem of everyone? That okay, so let's remember when reality first showed up in our community, what did they want to do? They wanted to create a panel and have everyone talk it out so that there could be peace. Because what they felt that they were the only mature ones and we were fighting like over childish things. Excuse me. I will never be in peace with anti-Semites. I will never be in peace with Nazi apologists. I will never be in peace with people that do not like Greeks. I will never be in peace with people that deny Afro-Latinos their heritage. Like, who died and made you the mayor of the community? If you think that this is like just a misunderstanding, think again. Like, they seriously, Dre, they wanted to have a panel and they wanted to invite everyone, like all the drama channels, like Ali and Nick Snyder and yada yada. I don't remember who else, like all the drama channels. Okay. So they could all have a conversation and work things out. Like, what is there to work out? Like, it's obvious. I mean, you want to know something else? Yeah, the DNA police. Like, they have that new term, like Jewish heritage. Like, what? Like, that's one of their arguments. Like, I'm not even gonna get into how anti-Semitic that is. Like, if you have a drop of Jewish DNA, then you can be anti-Semitic. Like, what's the logic behind it? I don't know. Or you can't be an anti-Semite. Like, what? I'm not even gonna talk about that. Yeah, that's their latest argument, like Jewish heritage, whatever the fuck that means. You're either Jewish or you're not. Like, there's no in between. There's no such thing as heritage. Like, it's dumb, Rosie. It's so dumb. I have a great grandfather who was Jewish, so I cannot be an anti-Semite. Like, what? Shut up. But yeah. What was I gonna say? Yeah, Dustin, the Japanese drama channel. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, let's all remember how reality made an entrance in our community. They wanted to invite all of the drama channels, okay, and have a discussion and have a panel or something, because somehow in the deluded minds, they thought that this was all a big misunderstanding and people, they had hurt feelings and they didn't want to hear each other out. No, that's not exactly the problem. It's like way deeper than that. It's way more complicated than that. And it's like, let's explore this a little deeper. Even before they showed up, the whole lot of drama channels were supporting Jeffree Star. That's my favorite topic, favorite person to trash in the world. The lipstick Nazi. Not racist at all. Okay. So they wanted to have that panel and we could all talk things out, but you want to work this process through with me. Okay. So there's a bunch of drama channels. Okay. And they are hating on Here for the Tea, and they're attacking her relentlessly. They're calling her every name under the sun. And they also, and I do not believe this is a coincidence, but they also use like very common anti-Semitic tropes, like, she's the person who controls everyone, and she has her tea stains, and she controls the tea stains. And so they made her out to be this whole powerful person that is purely evil and wants the destruction of everyone else, whereas everyone else was good but her. And her only problem was that she was salty that Jeffree Star blocked her, which to me, like, it's a blessing if that guy blocks you. Like, first of all, this should tell you something. Like, all of these people, the collective of these people, they felt that a person like Jeffree Star would make you or break you. It's like they were looking to get not just clout, but value as people through Jeffree Star recognizing their existence. Like, imagine how fucked up that is. They went to crazy lengths to prove that Jeffree Star is this changed person. He's that great person. And all of us who were calling him out, including here for the tea, were the bad guys and we were the crazy guys. And it was all a huge misunderstanding because we didn't want to see how much the lipstick Nazi that had coded Hitler in the past has changed. Like, can you absorb what's happening? Collectively, they all try to turn their platforms against us, like the supporters of Here for the Tea and Here for the Tea herself, who, as a Jewish woman, like, she knows from her experience that she's right, that Jeffree Star ain't shit. And they denied that to her. Instead, what they do is they apply common anti-Semitic tropes. They paint her as the villain, the all-powerful person that is behind everyone who hates Jeffree Star. They imply that all of us do not have a mind of our own, and that we're just manipulated and we just have a hate boner because it's not normal to hate a racist neo-Nazi, that his name is surrounded by rape allegations. The same guy that was best friends for years with a pedophile. So we're the bad guys. And our leader is a Jewish woman. You see where I'm going with it? You see where I'm going with it right now? So this is pretty much like a smaller picture of today's society. How Jewish people are collectively treated. Like, they can't win no matter what. They can point out the most obvious, like, this is anti-Semitic, or Jeffree Star ain't shit. And they will still be the bad guys. And anyone supporting them will still be the bad guy. And this is a habit that is ingrained in the collective consciousness for millennia. We're talking 3,000 years of hate. It is so normalized that people do not stop for a second to question it. So, at the very core of it, maybe subconsciously, there is a level of anti-Semitism going on from jump that created all that status in the beauty community. Because pretty much, what is it? The single Jewish drama channel against all of the other channels. The single Jewish drama channel going against a neo-Nazi. The rest of the drama channels supporting the neo-Nazi. You see where I'm going? And then anyone who actually sees it for what it is labeled. they're either crazy or they're racist or they're this or they're that. They're ableist. They're, you name it. And then the biggest villain of all gets to get away with it. Why? Because his detractors are not perfect or they're problematic as well. You know, one thing happening does not make other things, you know, impossible. So let's say if someone is problematic and they call out Jeffree Star, that doesn't make Jeffree Star the good person, because that's the most common strategy that drama channels used to use with anyone that would speak out against Jeffree. They would either look through their tweets or look through their videos or look through their past, and they would deflect. They did it to Thomas Halbert. They did it to Manny MUA, Laura Lee, I mean, a bunch of people who tried to say something against Jeffree. What is the go-to strategy? Demonize them. Deflect. Take away from how seriously fucked up Jeffree is. And of course, always, and even to this day, when somebody talks against him or against the drama channels, the trope is always the same. Oh, it's the tea stains, it's the Jewish channel's followers. So they're puppeteered. Like, miss me with that already. Drop it already. Because at first, maybe many people who are not knowledgeable about it, they wouldn't be able to make these connections, but it's 2021. You've been educated, and this is getting old, and there's only so many times you can claim ignorance, because at some point, this level of prejudice cannot be excused anymore as like you just wanting clout from Jeffree Star. Okay, because now you see that most drama channels, they drop Jeffree. Still though, what do? They wanted to blame Karma, they wanted to blame Dre, and they said, oh, you know, these are old tea stains. Okay, the Jewish channel supporters. Oh, okay, bad people. When that wasn't even the case. So you see where I'm going with it? Like, now, even though Jeffree's still not relevant, they still uphold that level of prejudice. And that's a deeper problem. And they need to check it with themselves, because this is such a normalized form of hate that, I mean, I would still give them the benefit of the doubt that they do not even realize that subconsciously there's more layers to their hate than just the surface layer of, you know, I just don't like you for the tea. There's something else going on. Like, even when Paige retweeted Here for the Tea's doxer, she had to mention Here for the Tea's car, her money, her house. Like, why? Why would you feel the need to attack that? Like, sit down and have a good conversation with yourself. Right, Dre? Yeah, they swear you were a tea stain. You were blocked. Dre was blocked. He would talk a lot of shit about Here for the Tea. I remember that. But yet, what was their go-to? Like a few days ago, oh, Dre was a tea stain. Like, what? Dre was blocked. Exactly, and it's been going on for years, and they do it all the time. Exactly. Here has also been called a princess, which is problematic tones against the Jewish. Yeah, at some point it's just more than just hate or dislike. So, like, take a minute. sit back and reevaluate why you hate this woman so much. Yeah, I remember that, Ray. I remember you didn't really like her so much, or you didn't even like me all that much. And honest to God, I could care less. Like, I see people, they hold grudges for so long in this community. And like, what do you expect? It's a drama community. People enter this community because they like fighting, they like disagreeing. So if somebody said something against me, so what? I could care less. Like, oh, so you talk shit about me in a community where everyone talks shit about others? Whoa, surprising. Exactly, Karma. So they need to check where that obsession stems from. Yes, Paige, when she brought up that infertility thing, that, I mean, girl, that's a different level of hate. Like, you should totally re-examine why this woman lives rent-free in your head. It's not normal. It's not normal. Nessa, maybe I don't know. If you ask to be unblocked, maybe you will get unblocked at some point. Yeah, exactly, Rosie. So this is my take. This is no beef. This is no small misunderstanding. This is not something that we can like talk it out and stuff. It's much deeper, and it's okay to have sides, and it's okay to be against things. What is not okay is trying to peddle a double standard that you have never honored yourself. What's not right is trying to use other people's pain as a cloud chasing machine that will get you a drop of recognition. What is not okay is to manipulate the perception of reality of a Jewish person that was doxxed so that you stop them from speaking on their lived experience. What is not okay is throwing out unsubstantiated allegations and accusations, especially when your hands are not clean or you're not willing to own up to similar mistakes that you have made in the past. And this is why I think that this particular group of people should not be taken seriously, and that their opinions hold little to no value, because they will say one thing in your face, a different thing behind the scenes. They do have selective memory, and the biggest problem of all is that they have selective morals. And you know what? I'm okay with someone, having sometimes problematic behavior, being loud, being rude and whatnot, and they own it. They're like, okay, I was heated, so I was rude and I'm sorry. There's people that are like that, and that's my type of person. What I will not stand for, and what I will never stand for, is this level of hypocrisy where you're pretending to be the community's sweetheart when you're swimming in logical fallacies and you are using the situations that had nothing to do with you as a battering ram to cancel someone else just because pretty much they didn't like you and they had the balls to say something about it. I will never stand for this. Yeah, so I love the chat. It's lit tonight. So yeah, miss me. And every time you call me names, I will respond and I will address it. I do have a life. It might take me some time, but I will always address it because I have nothing to hide. And when will I drop it? Never. When anti-Semitism is dead and buried in the community, that's when I'll drop it. So long as I see Nazi apologists around, I will not drop it. I'll be a bad pain in your neck forever. Yeah, I know, Krabby Pirate. I mean, us Aussies just had lunch, but our American friends are getting ready to go to bed. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, do not expect me to shut up anytime soon. So long as I see anti-Semites and Nazi apologists peddling standards for others, I will not be quiet. End of. They use others' pain to bully them, but God forbid anyone brings up their pain, then they bitch and moan social media. Oh, yes, exactly. Exactly. So if you're not invited in a conversation and then you forcefully enter it, do not cry when people return the energy. You see how bad it felt? Okay, guys, so it's like the Daily Fans if Sam or someone else would have been the one responding to Dre's original video the way they did. Oh, the community outrage. Yes. You know, it's always a double standard that I will never stand for. The level of hypocrisy that I will never find acceptable, and you can call me whatever you want to call me. I still don't care. I will call you out, and I will not be polite about it. And you're going to have to deal with it. Not the T-Rex suit, pirate. No, did you get it from a Kmart? That's sweet. All right, guys. So this is what I had to say for tonight. Of course, I will keep threading, I will keep responding, I will keep educating. This is only the beginning, but we need to start calling things as they are. And my question to reality is, who asked you for your opinion and for your help when it comes to Here for the Teas doxing? Who asked you for your opinion on Greek matters? What makes you think that you can say whatever comes to mind and then not expect a response? You talk about things that affect others, so naturally you must expect a response. And you're not entitled to a polite response either. Especially because the things you choose to insert yourself in have nothing to do with you. So yeah, miss me with the performative and big words that you used, whatever else you called me. Stay out of Here for the Teas DMs. Preferably stay out of situations that have nothing to do with you. But we can only hope. You can't stop people from commenting on things, but then you can't really expect people not to clap back, especially if it's something that affects them. Like, if I see someone talking about Greek issues, Of course, I'm gonna say something like, "Are you nuts?" Of course. Okay, guys, so I got these off my chest. I don't know what's going to be happening next. Maybe another live, another thread, another video. Like I said, I got a lot of things in mind, but I'm going to end it here because I think it's bedtime for most of you. So I'll bid you good night, and thank you for bearing with me, and I will catch up with you pretty soon. So I love you all. Bye now.